Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Manga Recap. It's the 17th of September of 2025. Yay, I guess.
Huzzah!
Is there anything special about the 17th of September?
Well, you now know I'm going to look this up.
You gotta look it up. Yeah.
September 17th, holidays.
Tell you this much, even if it's not a holiday, it's Wednesday, and that's a holiday in my book because it's a manga talkie day.
Nick, it's International Patient Safety Day. And Australian Citizenship Day.
Oh, that's nice.
It's also National DEA Day, or DEI Day. That's not sticking around. Not in this administration. But it's also National Apple Dumpling Day. I think that one might be able to stick around.
All right, apple dumpling, hell yeah.
Yeah.
At least we get those.
Now, I don't...
Patient Safety Day.
I don't quite understand this one. National School Backpack Awareness Day. As in, being aware that backpacks exist.
Stop giving your kids tote bags. And
like someone's like,
zip them up
my mom just hands me my school books and a sandwich baggie, and that's what I go to school with, or something like that. Like, I don't know.
In the old-timey days, didn't they like carry them with a belt or something like that?
Yeah, I imagine. That's what you'd see in a Simpsons flashback if they wanted to show a character was old.
Yeah, or I think that they did that in like Pinocchio or something like that.
Oh, it strives to make sure students wear their backpacks safely, and proper use can lead to back pain or injury, which can impact learning. On this day, teachers, students, and parents come together to make sure families are aware of the risks and that backpacks are being worn appropriately. It's for the children. That's the last line, by the way. It's full stop. Make sure backpacks are being worn properly, period. It's for the children. Period. That's their tagline. National School Backpack Awareness Day. It's for the children.
Okay, apparently a belt was to actually like hold a bunch of books together so that they wouldn't like slip out of your hands and stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
Nick,
we're learning on this show.
Yes.
This educational weekly manga recap show.
I had to do a speech recently for my public speaking class, and I'm no stranger to talking in public. I've done stand-up comedy before. I talk in a microphone to an audience that listens and is actively reacting to us as we speak for, I'm not going to say it in front of the class, but, I know it's been about 15 years. So I'm very comfortable with speaking in front of public and letting myself just be myself when I speak. However, what I'm not comfortable with is waiting to do something for the first time. And I ended up, I got a little alert from my Apple Watch that was like, hey, is everything okay? Because your heart's beating really fast and it seems like you've been sitting. And I'm like, the last time that happened, I had COVID. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, my heartbeat, I think, got to like 150 at one point as I waited to go for my turn. And then I gave my speech. It went fine. I blazed through it. I recorded long every time I did it, then ended up losing a point for shortness. But I think it did fine. But I do find it funny that no matter how many times I speak in public, the first time I do it will always just be terrifying.
I had a public speech class that was one of my favorites that I took at like any level of schooling. Had a great, very experienced professor. And I remember a lot of different things about it. It was a very fun class, and I learned a lot from it in terms of like how I needed to kind of like be aware of how I was speaking, and also the great benefits you get from coming prepared, because there was one student who saw fit to demonstrate the opposite of that so often, and it was really weird because he thought that he was so like bam, I could do this, just like naturally off the cuff and stuff. He could not. He just and what's wild about it is that like English was not his first language. So
there's a lot of confidence there.
A lot of confidence. And I just remember one of our first presentations we had to give was to talk about someone we considered to be a hero, and he did his on Marco Rubio. And the entire time I was very obviously going to the point I distracted him, and I actually felt bad about it afterwards. But he spent like the first 2 minutes of like his 5-minute presentation talking about how Marco Rubio had publicly chastised Salt Bay for having the Venezuelan president at his restaurant.
That Salt Bay reference is wild.
Yeah. It was 2018, I want to say,
Wow.
so he was much more relevant at the time. But he spent so long talking about how, like, this is why this guy is my hero, is because he admonished Salt Bay.
he told that internet meme to blow chunks for all he knows.
This is the kind of behavior we need in our institution. Anyway, he was a Manga head. So, anyway.
Well, I'm super excited because now I've done this podcast like 700 times, so I'm actually not concerned about doing it. We're going to roll right into this, starting with the first chapter of Weekly Blonga Recap. Oh, dang it. All right, well, I'm actually going to retire. Can't call it Blonga. That's ridiculous. We have...
I hope that's not one of the lessons that you were taught in your class, was that if you fuck up, you could never publicly speak.
Oh, yeah. If you make a mistake during the speech, you have to immediately be dropped from the class, and you are ushered out of school by security. Yeah.
There are 6.5 foot bodyguards.
They're actually gorillas. We have trained gorillas that will lift you up and take you out of the plane, because we need to know you're out of here. You can't be around. You looked at your note cards, you're gone. We'll shoot you.
Very learned gorillas who are taught all of the different intricacies of human speech, vernacular, understand 20 different English dialects, and also all the rules of debate, wear glasses, and are taking notes the whole time. And then if it comes out someone's made a mistake, carefully put the glasses away.
They're like, oh, and then you see them take off their glasses and slowly fold them up and like put them in a little talk protector, and then and just ripping the doors off the hinges.
You're supposed to be going after that student.
I mean, they're trained gorillas. What are we going to do? They're going to get a little wild, but they do get the student off campus very quickly. Sometimes they throw them.
When we have a fair amount of manga to talk about today, including a brand new series in Shonen Jump, so I think that we should get started.
Yeah. Ichi the Witch, I believe, is where we're starting, right?
It's chapter number 50 of Ichi the Witch, and its 50th hunt. Those who defy. Descarus last time spotted the waiter who had been harassing Jikishirane, and recognized that he was not a waiter and attacked him without asking questions. And we pick up where we left off. Good thing she was right, because the guy has a huge hole in his stomach. And after he proclaims, I'm merely a normal human waiter, she's like, no, you're not. You're talking with a massive hole in your gut.
No, it's fine. We all do that. All of us humans do this from time to time, right?
She then cuts his head off with another spell, and he just keeps on moving, attacking with the staff that he revealed before. And he catches his head, and they continue exchanging blows for a little bit, and Descarus knows, like, okay, you've got that creepy human staff, you're obviously not a friendly guy. Only witches should be capable of accessing this floor, so how the hell did you get in? And she summons Golconda to force him to tell the truth, sends it after him, and the waiter plops his head back on his neck and opens his mouth and sticks his tongue out, and his tongue has 3 mouths in it. Ew! Don't have that.
It brushing his teeth takes forever. It's so obnoxious.
Do the other mouths have tongues with teeth in them?
Yes.
How far down does this go?
Oh, well, that's a big question. But he does give crazy head, though. Like, absolutely wild. There's so much going on. It's obscene.
God damn it. Anyway, the waiter declares alpha, and Golconda suddenly whips around back towards Descaris. And she is startled briefly as she is forced into the same chair that she forced, I forget the name, the Joyous Sorrow magic into before.
Has she successfully used Golconda on anything?
She used it on him, I think.
Did she use it on like the mushroom or someone else?
She tried to use it on the World Hater magic, and it was working, and then he like blew it up.
Oh yeah.
In order to
but Joyous Sorrow magic was Bakugami, right. In my mind, I was thinking it was World Hater magic again. So okay, she has used it.
So the magic says, "All right, well, I've just turned Golconda against you. What's your greatest fear?" And Golconda takes action, starts to like force her mouth open. But I love the little touch here because Golconda goes, what is your fear?" And Descaris just turns and looks at him and says, "Yo," and he backs off immediately. Golconda's presumably been with Descaris for a good chunk of time. You know, not to mess with her.
Yeah, or just really got like schooled in their magic acquisition event, and they're just like, I'm terrified of this woman.
No. And immediately Golconda whips to heel, releases Descaris from the chair, and then like is cowering around her. So Descaris just moves on, is like, "How dare you do that to my poor sweet Golconda?" And he's like, the magic says, "Why are you calling me abusive? You just did that to it." And he starts, saying that, like, obviously you're just like all witches. You have mastered your magic. It's not an equal partnership. You forced them into a cage like a beast and have trained them to obey you. It's abhorrent behavior. There can be no true bonds between magic and human. Unfortunately, neither there can be cooperation or lasting harmony. These things all assume a relationship of equals, and if I can be painfully honest for a moment, holding this human shape is making me ill. So, okay, we get it. You don't like humans, fine. And a portal appears behind him with a hand appearing out of it that he stands in the palm of, and starts to pull him through it. And he says to Descaris, "Enjoy your game of master and servant while you can. It won't last. The Lord World Hater will free all the magics, and they'll stand in revolt against their oppressors. Humanity will be erased from existence, every last trace warped out, just like your poor little brother was." Asshole.
I love the way this sequence goes, because we just see Descaris like very clearly like, you crossed the line. Like you're gonna come. But this guy puts out his little tongue, he sticks it out, he's like, "Give my regards to Ichi the Witch." Get like head out. We don't get to see, we just see like the effect. And then
I showed her.
Cuts over to World Hater magic on the next page, and then we just see him like, "I have returned." Half his head's gone. It's the best way to show what happened there without us seeing it. So really enjoyed that.
This is one of the most brutal chapters of Ichi the Witch that we've gotten thus far, possibly the most.
Rather violent week of Jump in general, when we think about it. And of course, I'm speaking mostly about the new comedy series. A lot of violence in that one.
The magic presents World Hater with their staff and notes that it just contained a fragment of the World Hater's power. And the World Hater just says, "Are the seeds planted?" To which the waiter says thoroughly, "Now what will sprout from them? And will those blooms cover the world?" Briefly cut back to Descaris and Ichi as the commentary continues, with the waiter saying, "A new era has dawned. Let's ensure it sees the end of humanity, Lord World Hater." And they take on what appears to be their true form, which is like this merlion thing, although the humanoid face remains. means.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like there is a name for this creature, and I cannot think of it.
There is.
It's not
but I can't.
Selkie. That was what I went to first, and I was like, no, that's a different thing. I feel like though one of the Persona games you can get, like many of them, you can get this creature is like one of them, and I'm like, it has a name. I don't remember it anymore, or maybe I've never learned it.
Yeah, there is like just straight up a Merlion in some aspects of fantasy, but I think that there is something that is more specific than that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But the conclusion that the waiter says is there can be no future where humans and magics coexist. And we get the straightest friendship picture that I have ever seen of Jiki Shirane, the prophecy magic, visiting the true Jiki Shirane in her magic circle and clasping hands with her. And when we cut back to reality, she's like clasping her own hands as she's very worried for her friend, her very, very platonic friend that she cares for.
Leo Campus was a term thrown out. I mean, it does feel like an accurate way to describe it. I don't know if this is what I was thinking of, but maybe it is. But yes, this is a very beautiful shot to end it on. It just makes the jokes go harder. They're magic circle mates. This is definitely the way you platonically look into each other's eyes. But yeah, it's nice. I like the framing of this element that, Jika Shirine and the prophecy magic are not involved in this conversation, in either of the conversations that happened in this chapter, but their very existence is sort of the through line of everything here, because even as that conversation's happening, I was thinking of, like, we just met Jika Shirine, who seems to have a very particular connection to a magic and a human, so.
Yeah, and there has been hints of Ichi having to get around the personalities of the magics that he has captured. So there could be some development on that front as well in the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In the meantime, Nick, we have Blue Box.
Yes, we begin with Hina getting ready for her day, admiring her perfect little buns. It's her hair. So then we get
she puts them in these little tiny buns every day. It's very adorable.
Yeah. It's chapter 211, The Final Year, which is a very ominous chapter title. It's their last year of high school.
The final year. The moon's coming down, Nick. If you don't solve the problems within this year, the moon will crush the Clockwork Town. I can't remember its name, but it will happen.
It's like the event movie that is going to launch with Blue Box, where there's an invader that's been invented for just this one movie, and it's going to make everything crash into each other and stuff. We cut immediately over to Taiki, who is visiting Chinatsu's place, and she warns him, like, "Hey, practice starts at 1," and Taiki's like, "Yeah, but I gotta do something, so I'm gonna leave at noon. So sorry that lunch has to be really early." He presents her with homemade pasta and meatballs, and Chinatsu goes, "Oh, homemade, ready-made sauce with store-bought meatballs on top." Work to your ability.
Yep.
Good job. And she says that it's good, and Taiki's gonna be like, it came from the store. And Shinatsu says, no. Like, you made this because I made the pork before, and we're eating it together, so of course it tastes good. Food always tastes better when you share it with someone else. What a good girlfriend. It's very sweet. And Taiki says, "Oh, then we should eat every meal together." And Chinatsu says, "Are you proposing?" And immediately Taiki goes, They clean up after dinner and then give a big hug goodbye, which gets very dramatic text that reads, "The customary hug." And then Taiki says goodbye, walks out, and he's like, "Oh, it's great. I'm so happy. It's wonderful." And starts thinking about what else he can do to have meals together with Chinatsu. It's very sweet. But on his way out of the apartment complex, who should spot him as also coming out of their apartment but Chinatsu's neighbor, who we learn is named Iozaki, And as he leaves, he kind of notices Taiki's bag, his racket bag. And we see that he has a racket bag and is on the phone with Shuji Yusa! Le gasp! Arrival appear!
This guy also plays badminton!
Yeah, now we gotta take him seriously, Quinn.
Now he has to die. Taiki has to rip out his heart in the court after he defeats him.
At school, Hina's birthday is being celebrated. A couple of her friends have got, like party pop favorite things, and they've prepared a game for her, which is quote unquote clap clap happy birthday present hunt, which is basically they've all hidden their presents around the gym, and it's hot or cold game, which is the gift giver claps louder and more frequently the closer that Hina is to their gift. And then Hina's like, Kudo's been clapping for a while already. So immediately she gets his gift, which is just kind of birthday accessories. And there's kind of a brief note of like, should this guy like, are we going to talk about how lame his gift is? And no, Hina actually really likes it. She puts on the favors immediately, which is truly garish. It's a real choice, and it's an amazing bit that she now has to fully go into because she has done this already.
Yes.
Because she's got cupcake-shaped sunglasses and a hat with giant birthday candles in it. And you've just got to wear that now because you said that you're going to.
And both of them also just say happy birthday on them as well. The glasses as well. They have like a separate attachment at the top that just reads happy birthday. It's truly as hideous as possible. Also, I believe she has a sash on that says some equivalent
birthday
as well.
Sash. Yeah. And next one she finds is Ayame's. She's got fluffy slippers, which kind of look like bear or cat claws. They're very cute.
Very adorable.
She decides to wear them in the gym and keep on going. And all right, you've chosen this fate, and you can't be upset about anything that happens now because you brought it on yourself. She finds Kyo's next. It's a very, very, it's just a bath set. It's like, all right, cool.
Nina!
Nina. God damn it. I'm never going to learn her name. She got her a phone case, and the last gift is Taiki's. And Taiki's like, I kind of thought I hit it somewhere really obvious, honestly. And they encourage her, because you got to find it. It's going to be practice got to start, so you got to get it. And they point out, there's one place you haven't gone yet. And kind of motioning over towards the advisor of the badminton team, and we don't really ever see a whole lot of, but there's a very obvious gift bag right next to his desk, and he is like, you mean I gotta go over there while wearing this silly get up? No, that was your choice.
It seems like that was their intention. They do seem to get a lot of joy out of it once it happens, but it is no one said you have to wear this. You can take the glasses off when you go up. It's much funnier if you don't, but yeah.
Yes. And so she goes over and she says, hey, did Taiki, a.k.a. Absolute Idiot Inamata, leave a thing here for me? And, hands over the gift bag. Everyone gets a little laugh out of it. And it turns out that Taiki got her jellies from Simbikia. She has been, constantly, saying, give me some, special candy jelly things. And he did get them for her.
Good for him.
Nice.
Yeah.
She also got a little note from Taiki, which just says, hey, congrats, let's both do our best. And of course, the thing she's really concerned about doing her best for is stealing that boy from his current girlfriend. So, all right, I guess that she's going to try and do that. Left with a big old armful of gifts, and the one thing that you can't stop looking at is that little note from Taiki. She's got it hidden away in that new phone case so that it's nice and protected, and so she can look at it anytime she wants. I'm not... It's just... It feels like you're really setting yourself up to be very sad.
It is 100%. Hina is going to end up hurt from this again. I don't believe I don't believe she will get as hurt as she was the first time, though. And I think maybe that's the lesson she needs to learn. Because there sometimes is, like, a process and a cycle to getting over somebody. And I do think she is entering into it. I do not think she is legitimately in her mind thinking, I am attempting to steal Taiki away from his current relationship. But I think in her mind, she's also like, I need to always give my best. And maybe if I, like, just that weird hope you sometimes have, where she's just like, maybe if I give my best, Taiki will notice and change his mind or something like that. It's probably not going to happen. But she wants to at least try it, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. If I said that she was stupid for doing so, I would be a hypocrite because I've been through the same thing when I was a teenager myself. Yeah. Emotions are big when you're a teenager, and you don't know how to handle them all the time.
Almost as big as that giant birthday hat.
It's pretty garish.
Now, Nick, if Hina wore that hat all the time now as a new character trait, would she fall into the stupid hat club and thus you hate her?
100% Quinn.
Sometimes we don't know. Some characters end up with a great hat. I think one day
Name one.
Luffy.
He had that hat to begin with.
And not at the start of chapter 1, he didn't.
When he first shows up, he has the hat already. It's the flashback that he doesn't have it.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to do a hat tier list with you, and I'm just going to name character Jotaro. How's his hat?
There's a lot of good hats. I have never said that cool hats aren't stupid. I never said that cool hats are stupid hats. I've said that stupid hats are stupid hats.
Well,
I've been very consistent about this in my own mind.
That's what I think we're going to find out, is I'm going to firmly discover what is a stupid hat to Nick. I'm just going to name all of our manga hats and just see where we land on all this.
There's a lot of hats in anime that I don't consider stupid. It's just that some of y'all have shit taste and think that everything's a cool hat.
Whoa!
All right. The chapter's not quite over yet because Haruto offers Hina a little sports drink. Just a quick little, hey, happy birthday. Did not participate in the game. Does not make a big deal of it. He's just like, here you go, happy birthday. Don't think much of it. Mm-hmm. But as he walks off, he thinks to himself, I'm not going to give up either. And as he thinks that, he immediately shifts from, girl that I'm interested in to badminton, because he's like, I got to get stronger than Taiki. I've got to do it because we're all moving up a grade, which means that he's in his final year of high school. It's the last year that he's going to have a chance to overcome Taiki and, fulfill his destiny of being the new Taiki.
Yep. I like that he immediately is like, hey, happy birthday. Zero in. I must kill Taiki Inamata for multiple reasons now. He must go down. Just this, the intensity in this boy's eyes. And I like that.
I heard he has a new alias, Taiki Absolute Idiot Inamata.
He doesn't even and he's so focused on it. He's like, I will take the absolute idiot down. Like, he considers it a term of respect. He's like, I must acknowledge the absolute idiot in every one of his skills. I am excited to see when Taiki learns how much Haruto has been gunning for him. Because that eventually happened. Someone eventually, I think, told Haryu, right? They were like, hey, Taiki's really trying to beat you specifically.
Or he was just smart enough to recognize
to pick up on. Yeah, I'm curious if we're gonna get that moment where Taiki is like, "Hey, you really come after me when we play. What's up with that?"
I'm just trying to live my best life.
You're stealing my girlfriend. He's like, Shinatsu? He's like, no,
I don't care about her.
He's like, who?
I've never seen her in a leotard. Good.
As you should be.
All right, let's go on over to Chainsaw Man, Quinn.
I can't wait to hear its innovative chapter title, Nick.
Biff Creek Door.
Oh dear. Really, Chainsaw Man's really spiraling the drain with these chapter title names recently. It's like, what's 3 sounds that happened in this chapter?
Well, the last one's just, a thing that shows up.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
there have been multiple of these though that are just like,
Oh yeah,
boom, chainsaw, kablam, or whatever. You're like, all right, it's funny once.
Denji crawls out of the wreckage of, the school building because Yoshida triggered a bomb that blew up all around them. And he looks around, spots Yoshida's presumably corpse because that's a lot of stuff impaling his torso, and doesn't have any time to react before fucking Barham shows up. And Barham has a flamethrower. He's not flamethrower devil form. He just has a flamethrower and just incinerates the remains of Yoshida, grins toothily at Denji in order to just go, "Yup, it's me again."
I think the toothy grin is such a wild, like, my dude just walks into a scene with a flamethrower and then still like has to smile while he's doing it just to be like, I know, I'm being a little shit right now, but.
And Denji reacts. The ripcord comes out. A tendril comes out, grabs Barham, and then, Fujita Chainsaw Man's mouth comes into play as he devours Barham from the feet up in one go. And Barham's like, "Stop! Ow! Kill me first! Ow!" It is admittedly very funny.
It is an amusing way for this character who we have a lot of animosity to die in like a silly joke where he's like, "Hey, idiot! If you're gonna eat me like legs first, then kill me first, stupid." But Denji's just gonna keep doing it. Just has like, "No, kill!" It's like a very funny way to do it, but.
So no more Barhams and no more flamethrowers, I guess either. Unless the whole thing with him having to wear a flamethrower is because he stopped being bonded with the flamethrower devil.
Who knows?
Anyway.
Is the fire devil still around? Maybe that because the fire devil's no because he shot a flamethrower. So I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been devoured, and then at that point, Fami and Lil D come out to stand beside Chainsaw Man. And Fami just says very briefly, "Good thing Chainsaw Man didn't kill us." And immediately, Lil D comments, he understands how dangerous this incoming devil is. And we get a creak as a door appears in the middle of the sky. And then a bunch more doors appear around it. It's like that bit in Monsters, Inc. where they go where all the doors are.
Yeah.
And that's the chapter.
Well, this is also what happened when the Falling Devil showed up, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I do remember them using the symbolism of the doors before, and I thought it was like whenever like a primal fear kind of shows up or something like that. So maybe it's along those lines. My exact reaction, though, when I finished this chapter was just like okay. Like, I didn't have too many thoughts. I was like, cool. I guess Barham's dead. I'm glad, but like at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. That's not a development of a chapter to me, especially if it's just going to be like a throwaway joke in the chapter. Like if you just cut this out, it doesn't really change much. So yeah, I guess we'll see who's behind the door and who's coming.
Yeah, as much as the act of, a shithead being devoured in this chapter did amuse me, it was a feeling that went away very quickly, and then they kept on going, and then the chapter ended, and I thought, all right, I guess we're just going to keep on going. Okay, fine. It doesn't feel exciting still. Oh, well.
All right,
Dandadan, Quinn.
Dandadan, chapter 209, All Alone. So the chameleon devil has been defeated, or not chameleon devil, was an alien, I believe. The chameleon creature has been defeated, and we see, the castle getting destroyed, and suddenly the illusion effect that was taking over everything starts to dissipate. We see this is actually what it was like around the country. Illusion. Yeah. We're actually in the countryside, and Momo, very small, has fallen into the grass, and it's just oh, did we beat him? Oh, this is what everything is. We were mimicking the whole town. This is crazy. Hey, Vamola, are you there? And she realizes very quickly, she's like, oh, right, she can't use the Kaijo suit, so she can't detect me anymore. She doesn't even know where I am. And she even, like, kind of notes, she's like, wait, Vamola, don't run off, but I can't actually see very far. I'm very small right now. So she wanders out of the tall grass, looks out, and just sees how far off everything is. And she's looking up at the moon. She just thinks to herself, I hope Grandma's okay. I wonder if she made it to the hospital. I wonder what time it is right now. And it's a chapter with a lot of silence and space to it. So I understand that there's a lot of panels in between all the things that I'm recapping here. So she, Momo's kind of knowing the time has run out. She realizes she's missing her chance to get this curse removed. And because of that, she knows what the consequences are. And she starts crying. She just starts saying, like, I'm so lonely. I want to go home. And she thinks about all of her friends, like her classmate friends, like not just like the characters we spend all of our time with, but like the friends she had at school and stuff like that. Like she seems legitimately upset, and we see like these effects kind of coming off her as she just sort of fades away. And there's a big 2-page spread, and we start seeing some people coming in from the distance, and they're wearing, religious clothes, and they have masks on. And they approach and they say, are you there? Then please climb on. You need not be worried. Matters have already concluded for your 2 friends. Next, it is your turn. We get a big 2-page spread as they are taking, presumably Momo, that's who we're last talking to, into sort of this underground chamber. And there's a shrine there. They take her in, put her into the water, do a little ritual. They use the hammer, bong, and
the
then
hammer that was supposedly stolen. And when you look at it, yep, that sure is just a hammer, isn't it?
Yep. So. And then there's a moment of something coming out of the water, and these different individuals kind of have like a robe, and we see that Momo is back. She's like quickly given a robe and covered up, and she's being pulled out of the water. She is alive. We don't know if there are any consequences to this, if there are any big things, but we do get the answer. Momo was not disappeared. She is back to her full size now, and we'll find out next week, I guess, if there's any new complications to any of this.
Yeah, this feels like it happened very quickly and suddenly. Obviously, we had all the build-up for it, but when the moment came for Momo to have the danger of like, oh my god, she's going to disappear. Although there was the emotional moment of her, realizing the weight of what was going to happen and despairing, it didn't really feel to me like there was a full chance for the audience to catch up as that happened. And so then for us to immediately move on from that to, oh, she's fine. And by the end of the chapter, it's a little bit weird. I feel like I'm a little disappointed by that because I kind of was looking forward to there being a moment of anguish that you had to sit in, and we don't have that. This is something that I've called out on feeling disappointed when this happened, and whenever like a fairy tale chapter would try to make you think a character was dead, and then before the chapter was over, nope, they're alive, they're fine. Like, can't you have us wait until next week before this happens, where she's found and then is restored?
I wonder if I wonder if this will be played differently in the anime. Like they were like, look, I don't want to like, I don't have like 7 pages worth of Momo being upset about her own potential demise to like necessarily navigate. So, maybe that's where they would end it in the anime, or maybe like with the guys like approaching, but then they'll be able to like pace it in a little bit better. I do appreciate that we're not really dragging this part out. If there are consequences to whatever happened, or no consequences or whatever, we'll find that out next week. I am glad we are making progress. I feel like we have been in this weird stalled state with Dandadan since we kind of started reading it. And not for nothing, this year had some really cool fights, but not a lot of consequence or like progression has happened. We are still dealing with the same knife people. We've learned a little bit more and all that sort of stuff, but like I just feel I want to make some progress in this series, and this is at least one step towards that, I guess.
I get you. So, Quinn, what do you think the excuse is going to be for her and Okarun to not confess their feelings to each other this time?
I've heard so many people.
Is everyone going to have forgotten her, actually? Like, is that what's going to happen? And she's going to have restored, even though she's got her physical, like, presence back?
I heard some people be like, oh, well, she technically started to disappear, so maybe she won't have all of her memories anymore, and she has to earn that. I was like, I hope none of those. I hope the answer is she's perfectly fine. She walks up and she gives him a big old kiss because they're boyfriend-girlfriend now.
And everyone is always disgusted to be around them because they won't stop being gross around each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They would be that kind of couple, wouldn't they? All right. Yeah. I mean, I see the good in it. It's just that it did bother me more than that. So.
I totally get that as well.
We got to move on, though. We got Spy Family to talk about. It's Mission 123, Part 1. We get this kind of thing occasionally where it's like, not a fully shortened chapter, but it's only like kind of a half-length chapter. And we start off with Anya, who is rushing out the door to go to the bus. She passes by Siegfried and Barbara on the way out, and she can read their mind. And so she's like, okay, they're just normal people. They're not suspicious or anything like that. And Lloyd thinks the same thing as he is observing the two of them, because he is, since that previous chapter where they visited, gone out to, tail them and make sure that they're not up to anything. Although he notes that Sigmund did go out alone once, but he only wandered around the neighborhood with occasional stops to sit and think on a bench. He didn't exhibit any suspicious behavior that I could observe. In school, Anya is approached by Connie, her new classmate, who says, have you heard the devil ritual in the old schoolhouse? It's one of the 7 great secrets of Eden. And Anya says, who are you? How late into this class are they? How many times have they spoken?
I like it because it helps us, the audience, remember. But yeah, in practice, you're like, how long have they been sitting next to each other? And Anya's still like, who are you?
Who are you? Connie quickly moves on and says, they say long ago a group of students summoned the devil in hopes of using its powers to become imperial scholars, but it ate them all, and their spirits have haunted the old schoolhouse ever since. Isn't that scary? And Anya goes, ooh, ghosts, cool. The two guys that are infatuated with her for some fucking reason are like, oh, spirit and devil, yes. And the mushroom head one says, I consider myself an expert on the topic because my father performs spiritual readings. And we learned that, he's the really weird hairdo guy that was at the seance that you went to with Melinda. So that tracks, I guess. So Connie asked if they wanted to go and check out the ghost thing. And the three of them are like, oh, yeah, sure. And Anya being like, can we fight ghosts? Because that's where her mind lives all the time. Anya tells her bestie, Becky, about it. And she's immediately like, oh, no. She will not be joining us for this adventure. Fair enough. Damien overhears it and says, like, you guys are going to get in trouble if they catch you. And Anya is, of course, going. Damien realizes, wait a minute, if they're going, then that means that Anya's going to be close to one of the guys that I'm totally not jealous of. So he decides to go too. And his 2 tag-alongs decide to tag along as well. So they go to said abandoned schoolhouse. It's very creepy looking. It's overgrown with a lot of stuff. It's in poor maintenance. And on top of that, there are creepy birds flying around it going, caw! And all the kids are very scared, except for Anya, who brought a net because she wants to catch ghosts. Good for her. Everyone's really nervous for a bit until Anya goes, charge! And just runs straight in. So that breaks the tension. It starts raining outside, so everyone decides to follow after Anya and take cover from the rain. The doors blow shut behind them. Of course, it's so creepy. The door is slammed. These guys are all 6. I want to.
I want to note. I don't think anyone actually tries to open the door. Like they're all like, there's nowhere to go but forward, right?
I don't know. The doors do creak open, and you see them pushing them in. So I don't know, but yeah. So everyone's freaking out for a little bit. Anya has a brief moment where she starts kind of looking kind of groggy for a second, which I think is because she's overloaded from everyone freaking out because they're so scared.
Everyone's
so
so scared.
Sensing all of them.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, they think that she has been possessed by a ghost very briefly.
I like that one of the kids uses the word ensorcelled. Like, how did you know that?
What do you mean ensorcelled?
How do you know that word?
It's really dark. Floorboards are really creaky. It's very dusty. Connie says, do not underestimate the depths of the ghost's resentment. Not if you want to make it out alive. And Anya says, don't worry, guys. I brought a net. I'm going to catch a ghost and get a Stella Star for it. So she's having a great time. They move around a bit more. There's a map. And they note that there is a room called the Dark Room. And the foreigner student says a dark room? How is it infused with dark power? And one of Descaros's goons says it's for developing photos. Chill.
Did you call him Descaros?
Not Descaros, sorry.
Damien.
Damien.
I had to sit for a moment. I was like, wait, was this character also in Ichi the Witch?
Descaros is just also there, and she's like, there's ghosts around, kids. You should be scared.
I'll shoot its head off if a ghost comes at us, though.
Don't worry about it. A creepy thump resounds, and all the kids freak out. Connie pulls out a crucifix and a skull with a third eye and says, if evil spirits think of harming me, I will curse you to death. They're ghosts. I don't know if that'll work. And she rushes off like Anya style, going, "Grar!" And Anya immediately follows after with her net. And then as they chase after the girls reach a set of stairs, which are very creaky, and they spot a single shoe abandoned on one of the steps, and it's covered in, creepy fluid ectoplasm. And the chapter very suddenly ends there on that note.
Yeah, we shall see what happens, but fun little cute comedy chapter after some pretty significant ones, so makes sense.
Yes, it was nice. And a lot of silly moments, which I appreciated.
Yep. In the meantime, we got Hima-Ten, or, Nick, should we say Hima-58?
That actually kind of felt like it flowed quite well.
Yeah.
So that was a better one, yeah. Chapter number 58, Hug Himari. Here's Himari.
When you had to open a chapter being like, get out of here! Boo!
Himeno comes out of her apartment at the same time Iamori is coming out of his. Immediately, Iamori experiences a bit of awkwardness because he's like, I just looked at her really sexy photo album yesterday. Yeah, maybe you should have thought of that before you can let your underclassmen convince you to look at sexy swimsuit photos while she watched your reaction to it.
It always blows my mind that she chose when she started teaching to put it out. But yeah, it is one of those things you're like, maybe I shouldn't have looked at swimsuit pictures of my teacher who lives next door. Maybe that was a bad call. Maybe this is going to make things awkward.
Yep. Himeno makes note to Iamori saying, did you make sure Kana went home yesterday? And Iamori's like, yeah, she went home right after we saw each other. It's nothing and stuff. And Himeno's like, I think I figured out the girl you're crushing on and the two that you might have crushes on. And Iamori's like, I don't want to talk to you with you about that. Fair enough. At school, Kana spills almost all the beans to Himari. Almost. Drops the news that Himeno is his neighbor and so on. Himari does realize right away, okay, she's really famous, so he was probably keeping it a secret to protect her in that regard. She asks, did you hear about it from, his sister? And kind of starts to explain that she, visited, but doesn't get to that before the two of them spot Iemori. They catch up while Himari is right there, and she overhears them talking about the presents and stuff. And Himari is like, "Well, presents? You never mentioned you were getting presents and stuff." She feels left out right away, and Kana starts to feel very upset on her behalf. And Iemori, they explain things off screen. Jump ahead to Himari explaining things to her assistant. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. So she's pouting during the middle of their meeting, like she face fully buried in a pillow, and explains everything to her in terms of the new Himeno situation. And to which the response is like, "Wow, what is with this guy? Does he have superpowers in his life?" And Himari says that she's not concerned that he's going to develop feelings for Himeno because she knows Iemori well enough to know that that's not really how he is. But she is upset because Kana got to hang out with Iemori and his family and has even gotten to go in his room, like made steps that she hasn't. And so she's all teary-eyed about it and everything. Himari is reminded of, like, "Hey, you went on a freaking date with him, didn't you? How was that?" And she says, "We hugged." "Oh, okay, that's good. What if he thinks the hug was sexual harassment?" Well,
I mean, you're not wrong.
It could have been, yes. But she just notes that, like, they haven't talked about it since it's happened. And she feels like things have been kind of awkward between them, and that Iemori has not been telling her everything that's going on with him. So it sort of feels like he's been avoiding her or holding out on her. But of course, a large part of that is the fact that she, just has caught the major feelings for Iemori, and so she's all of her concerns are blown up as a result. And she points out, like, "I am his boss. He could consider it sexual harassment." He could. Yes, you're right. I don't know, maybe you should talk to him about that if it's really bothering you, though. Meanwhile, it's cleaning day. So Himari's going to go and clean Himari's place. And he thinks about how it's been a couple of weeks since that date that they went on, and how they haven't talked about stuff. And also he notes, like, "Yeah, she kind of knows that Kana was in my room. Fortunately, Kana did not tell her that she just fully took her shirt off in front of me and demanded that I give her my opinion on her boobs."
Yeah, we don't need to ever talk about that again.
Iemori gets to Himari's place. "Look at how big Maro's gotten."
Do you have that with Robbie at all, where you're like, "Look how big you are"?
We literally call him 4-pound Ravi all the time now because he's gotten to 4 pounds.
Oh, I don't think I can do that with Professor Peanuts. I can't be like 13-pound Mr. Peanuts. Yeah, Little Dan destroyed part of my love with that cat because he just kept commenting about how big he is, and now I can't stop seeing him. I'm like, this cat is kind of huge now that I look at it.
Nicole wants Ravi to get huge. Like, she's like, "I want him to be like a big, fat, happy cat."
Yeah.
Because, when we found him, he was starving. So she's like, "I want him to be to
have
so
a
fat
surplus of food." Yeah.
Anyway, Maro's doing great. Scritches under the chin for Maro. Iemori says, "What a good boy." And Himari notes that Maro really likes Iemori. That's how you know that he's the one. Is that your cat likes him. And even the girl that she met with for business, Subone, Maro doesn't like her. Which, I don't know, it feels like she's done nothing to deserve that. She's just been, like, someone to bounce the Himari's opinions off of. She's done nothing.
Yeah.
Himari says that maybe it's because Maro takes after me, because pets that kind of take after their owners, and I'm also scared of rejection, so it's kind of hard for me to open up to people. she's not talking about you, Iyamori. Definitely not. She's definitely not talking about you. It's fine. Iyamori even says, I've never seen anybody reject you. And Himari's like, then why are you keeping your distance from me since I gave you a hug? So she goes up to do some work. Iyamori, of course, is going to clean up and everything. And Himari's thinking to herself, like, I know that I set all those boundaries and stuff, but you let Kana into your room. Does that mean that you only think of me as yourself as my house cleaner? Oh, this girl. Oh, this teenager thinking like a teenager. Oh no. Iyamori does notice that Himari is acting weird, but doesn't really say anything about it. He even wonders like why she's not commenting on the fact that Kana, was in his room, and wonders like, shouldn't she have been like kind of defensive over her? I really don't know what the hell's going on with her, and I feel like there's kind of like a distance between us as a result of that. So he's worried too, but it's mostly because like you guys aren't talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Talk to each other, you idiots. Stupid teenagers.
I want Nick to like have like an advice column, and someone like sends in a message like, "You're both acting stupid. Why aren't you talking to each other? Why
aren't you talking to each other?
I can tell just from the way you wrote this, you have a stupid hat on right now. I can tell."
There's no hats to be spotted in this chapter, fortunately. Later on, Himari comes down because Iyamori's gotten dinner ready, but they don't see where Maro is. This is, again, like, young but growing cat behavior, just showing up in random places. He's on the stairs, and he jumps through the stair railing. Oh, no! The cat! He's fine. He's a cat. If this had happened with me, I would have not freaked out in the slightest. I'd be like, yep, okay, he's jumping. Cool.
Yep, that's what they do. I mean,
that's what they do.
Is jumping from a little bit of a height, like it is, about half a height, a flight of stairs. So, like, it's got some distance, but still, yeah, he's a cat. He'll be fine. Plus, he's a kitten.
But this gives Himari an excuse to freak out even more, because when she was trying to catch Maro because she was worried for him, Iyamori seemingly instinctively jerked away from her. And Himari's like, why'd you lean away from me? And Himari's like, well, because you almost collided with me. And Himari says, so you didn't like it. What are you talking about? You didn't like when I hugged you. That's the conclusion you draw, because he was making sure you didn't trip over each other. And she, finally they lay things out. She says, like, yeah, you've been keeping your distance from me. I'm sorry. I acted inappropriately. And Iyamori's like, you don't need to be so formal with me. I never thought of it like it was harassment or whatever. And, I get why you would want attention sometimes. And I'm okay if you need that. But I'm just a normal high schooler who happens to be your house cleaner. So the fact that I got a hug from you was really overwhelming, and I had no idea how to react. Which, yeah, fair. Anyway, time for dinner. But Himari realizes, oh, so in Iyamori's mind, I'm still like this incredible, like out of reach girl that is somehow in his life still. She asks him out of the blue, did I look cute when we went on our date? And he says, like, I mean, yeah, you said you went all out. And yeah, I think it showed. And she looks at him and says, can I get a hug if I want another energy boost sometime? And he's like, it's not really part of my job. No, that was the wrong thing to say. That was the wrong thing to say, Iyamori. She is also your friend, at least. And Himari says, I know it's not part of your job, but like, I don't have any other boys that I've opened up with as much as I've opened up with you. And I want to like kind of be able to rely on you from now on, because I want you to be more than just my house cleaner. Baby steps. It's a good step forward. Like just indicating you want the door in your relationship to be open to not just purely professional.
Yeah.
That's basically it from there.
It's fine. It's a decent little chapter where Himari gets to kind of explain a bit about herself, work through some thoughts, and have some kind of resolution at the end. And we barely had to see the new teacher at all, so I consider it a marked improvement.
This might as well be like the best chapter we've had in like a month and a half for you.
It's not. The other ones weren't great. Nick, Odor of the Flame. We got spirits to talk about.
We got spirits, yes we do. Odor of Flame, Chapter 18, Countermeasure. Quinn, I don't know how well Odor's doing. It's got a color page in Chapter 18. What is going on? I thought that this was not doing well, like in volume sales.
Well, to be fair, color pages aren't 100% always an indicator of a serious success. Sometimes they are just given out. I think Odor, I will say, I would not start getting comfortable with Odor. Perhaps it is going to, maybe a big bounce back. Who knows? But getting a color page after a series of eliminations happened and you survived is not like an insane thing. It's going to be like another...
It's not a bad sign.
It's going to be like another 2 months before we get another cancellation. But, yeah, it's a good color page. Nice use of color. I enjoy that a lot. Visually, very good.
Oter and company have come to the Windless Waters, where the tomb is located. According to Akane, this is a spot where wind and currents from 6 different directions clash.
This is the calm belt, Nick.
Yeah, it's weird because he describes it that way after saying they're the windless waters, when really it sounds like they're windful waters, but they're never mind. So they're going to leave out in a small boat from there, and so they're leaving. God, what is it? Is it Hugin? It's not Hugin. Is it? I don't know. Mr. Sorcerer guy. He's staying in the ship while Etupirko and Kutane and Oter and Filgia go off towards the tomb. And Oter apologizes to Kutane because, like, I know that you're only here as our guide, so I'm sorry that you're being put in danger. And Kutane's like, no, it's fine. Yeah. We get, again, some note about how skilled of a navigator he is. And he says, like, yeah, I'm here. I come here all the time. I come here to visit the tomb monthly. And then he goes on about the legend of the wind spirit a bit more, saying that legend has it that it carries the wind to the port. And I've never really believed in that. I just made visits as a way of giving thanks and paying my respects to my ancestors. But he looks at Phil again and is like, I guess spirits do exist, though. And Philgia's like, oh, hi, by the way, I'm Philgia. Grows to her full form. And Kutane says to Oter, a long time ago I actually wanted to be a warrior like you, but I've found my own battlefield. Connecting people's lives through the currents. It may seem a simple job, but it's still an important one, and I'll help you out any way I can if it helps to protect the port and my fleet. I'm definitely not going to be your new party member at the end of this part of the journey. But Etupirko, of course, having known Kutane for a really long time, says, like, you've changed. You used to be a shallow, thoughtless, womanizing, spoiled, rich saga nerd. And I guess you still are. But she says, but you're cooler now. That's really nice, I think.
Yeah. Always nice when someone who knows you is like, hey, you've changed, and for the better.
Absolutely. You're still a big old dork, but Oter brings up the captain from the first few chapters, whom we were very briefly reunited with a couple chapters ago, and says, someone I owe a lot to once told me that warriors aren't only those who stand on the front lines. And the trust from your subordinates, Kutane, and your navigational techniques, the scars on your hands, they're all proof that you have fought and gained experience as a warrior, and I respect that. Cool, we're all friends. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
They get to the tomb, which has like some Stonehenge kind of stuff within it, and a big old tombstone which is lying across the ground. And Kutane reacts when he spots it. Oter recalls that he needs to utilize a rune disc that has been given to him, and it will allow them to cast spells, one of which is the protective barrier that will make them invisible, and Wacha, one that will reveal those who are invisible. As it turns out, the Doa the Wicked Horn, whom of course knew the route to the tomb as well, is there and is revealed. Babash. Yep, so they're going to fight. Doa says, countermeasures hide worries. And he is immediately surrounded in a bunch of Morker, the monster things that have shells and stuff, and they form a weird armor around him, very uneven armor. He starts to attack. Otter tries to counterattack, but from Doa's shield, Etopirco's face just randomly appears and starts going, I'm scared! And Otter hesitates, and after that, Doa, I don't know, to be a weirdo, stabs the face that he summoned, like off screen, I guess to freak them out.
Yeah, he's a weird little freak. He's like, look at the evil stuff I'm doing.
And then he attacks them with stones. We don't ever see anyone's reaction to, presumably seeing Etopirco's face be gored. So, okay. Otter dodges the stones and stuff, manages to get an attack in and slash off one of the armored tentacle things that Doa has. But then they kind of disconnect off because it's not just one Mokur that is surrounding Doa. It's a whole bunch of them slapped on together. So he can fire them out like rocket fists and stuff. And just, replace the ones that get burned by Otter's abilities. So one of them nearly gets Otter. He has to burn it. And Doa says that this is a countermeasure prepared just for Otter. And now I'll finally be able to see the worst expressions you've ever made. Because that's, his big thing. So Otter is surrounded by a bunch of Mokur that are, holding him at bay and attacking him. As Doa steps onto the gravestone, and he says, I'm going to steal the wind spirit's power, but the spell requires a payment from the caster. And his lungs come out of his body, just rips them out through his back, and keeps talking. Yes.
Yeah.
With his lungs that are outside his body now. And he goes, I researched the wind, and apparently the wind spirit is blowing the wind, and Blood Eagle's sacrifice spell fill my hollow chest. And a big old gleam appears from his chest as he regains his voice and says, I wonder what'll happen to that port once I steal the wind spirit. What kind of faces will you make then?
Ooh, he's a weird little freak. Yeah. It's cool. It's a cool little move. He rips his own lungs out. It's a cool little sacrifice. I wonder if the guy who's definitely not going to get the wind spirit at the end of this is going to have to do something similar when it's his time to get it. But it's fun. It's cool little chapter stuff. Cool little bad guy. It's good.
Ping-Pong Peril! Chapter 10, Conclusion! The table's been destroyed.
It's gone. Yeah, it's ripped in half. Twice.
Tyra is now left to try and overcome a 4-point disadvantage against Suji, who is on game point still. And Suji is like, it's okay. Both sides of the table are destroyed, and it's just a point-blank range. And even Tyra will be able to serve on a table like this. Tyra serves on a table like this immediately. Bounces it off the very edge of the collapsed table, so it still counts as being on the table. Suji goes to, quote-unquote, return it, and nearly clocks Tyra in the face. He clearly is aiming to just punch Tyra with the motion of trying to return the shot.
Yeah.
Mutsuki immediately calls him out on this, saying hey, physical violence is forbidden within Ping-Pong Peril. And Suji says, no, that was a smash. It may have looked like a punch, but that's just because we're so close together. But I was just naturally trying to return the ball. And whether or not he got in the way, that's his problem. So Mutsuki warns Tyra, says stand back a little bit. Tyra goes, no. There's no reason for him to be here.
It's
He will
proving a
win
point.
easily.
It's proving a point.
And, they're both squaring off with each other, face to face, glaring at each other's eyes as Tyra says, I'm going to beat you head on. Mutsuki is directly between them. Why, though? Again, Tyra serves. Again, Tsuji tries to quote-unquote return. Tyra's got to duck his punch. And Tyra says to him, like, hey, remember, Sensei, you said that I was strong. Even though you watched that match up close. I guess it didn't make any sense to someone who's always trying to escape reality. If you put your all into competing, you'll run into one eventually. A match that completely negates your entire life. An overwhelming defeat that makes you despair. This was regular ping pong, by the way, not money on the line, life or death ping pong, just regular ass high school ping pong. He catches up even further. He's now within 1 point after getting another one on Tsuji. And Mutsuki notes to Tsuji that, hey, Tyra's got a 1 billion yen debt that he's got working on right now, which Tsuji was unaware of. And so he's starting to lose focus on the match. But Tsuji misses another shot at Tyra, who just dodges out of the way. And Tyra says, I've taken it on, and I'm back on my 2 feet now. The past is fuel for me. He gets another shot in. He takes the lead is on game point and says, I'm burning it all to fight for the present. Tsuji, for some reason, evokes that he's going to get Momo's body out of this when he wins, manages to finally land a shot in a way that it actually qualifies. It goes off the edge of the table, but it bounces high up in the air. And as he's celebrating that he managed to return it, Tyra says, I'm not going to let someone afraid to face reality steal a single thing from me. And we get the kill shot as he manages to very easily return the ball, knocks it on the edge of the table once again to score the winning point.
Yeah, very cool.
Tyra has won. He got to look really cool while doing it. Tsuji freaks out over this, and as he goes over to the table where all the bets were placed, he grabs the money he had bet and he says, I'm not letting anyone steal my money! And Tyra goes like, you lost! Get the fuck you! Learn sportsmanship! And Mutsuki says, calm down. This is a job for me. And she rips up the side of her skirt, kicks off her heels, and says, the match is over, so don't spoil his victory any more than you already have. And Tsuji, full of shit heel mode, says, fuck you, I'll even hit a woman if I have to, goes to punch her, and she acrobatically dodges around the punch and then spinning heel kicks his throat and, I don't know, kills him. Like,
it's very interesting because I had to I truly don't know what she does because this art is not phenomenal. She does seem to switch legs between winding up and actually kicking, but it does look extremely cool.
Like a hook kick, I think.
Well, she winds up her right leg, then she kicks with her left leg, and I'm like, I don't understand how that works, or where it came from. I don't know. It's a very interesting visual, but she does kill this man, it feels like.
Yeah, so Tyra has to come to grips with the fact, like, oh, this small woman who's been following me around and stuff is very strong and dangerous. Okay. Mutsuki explains that her job is to make sure that Ping-Pong Peril matches run smoothly and according to the rules. And Tyra says, like, what about the matches you aren't around for? And Mutsuki says, like, I mean, I leave things up to the competitors when I know they can follow the rules, but I always stay nearby. And it's revealed that even in that match at the bar, she actually was, like, right outside to keep an eye on things. And Tyra, like, just missed her because she hid behind the door when he ran outside. And, she even points out, like, I know that you were crying as you left. So, cool. So, she congratulates him, gives him a fist bump, hooray. And then crashing through the window is a drone. A drone with a massive TV screen and a bunch of appendages attached that congratulates Tyra on reaching level 5. And I say, like, this is the Ping-Pong Peril Administration. Congratulations. And one of the appendages goes and gives him a rank 5 badge that's covered in gloop for
Yeah, I was
reason.
like, why did it need to be like conserved in like a gelatinous goo? Like, what purpose did that serve?
The mysterious member of the Ping-Pong Peril Administration says that they have enjoyed watching Tyra's progress and say, you're not just skilled, you are tenacious. We expect great things from you. Until we meet again! And it crashes out through a different window in the chat.
That's the best part. It's the best joke where it's just like, why did you go through the same, why didn't you just do the same window you already broke?
Tyra notes, like, that was really weird. Like, obviously, like, the sci-fi drone and stuff, but also, like, he was really bubbly for an underworld organizer. That's strange.
Yeah.
Tyra's got 8 million yen to saw into that billion yen debt that he's got. Immediately, Musuki turns and says, hey, let's go get some sushi. And Tyra's like, can I invite Momo? Yeah, sure. All right, I'm getting all right. And Tyra gets a big, like, jumping, woohoo, I won, I got ranked up, while Musuki's like, gotta go eat food, and just all business. But she does think to herself, the Ping-Pong Peril admins came quicker than I thought.
Yeah, I like it because we do need to, like, kind of raise the stakes. We've had a volume now worth of really fun ping pong matches that got pretty crazy, and I assume we'll still have those. But I do want to start getting more of the plot of this world. You know, what's going on? What are we going to be doing in between these matches? Just feels like a nice time to start escalating a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it's about time to do that, especially considering, like, we have no idea how long the series is going to last. So it's about time, just like, all right, let's up the stakes and just keep the momentum building.
Yeah, I agree.
New Shonen Jump series, Quinn. Someone Hurts. Hertz spelled like radio frequency. Hertz. It's a new series by A. Yamano, featuring guy and girl protagonists who are quote-unquote connected on the same frequency. Chapter number 1, on-air name, Eel Potato. Our main character is Mime Fukumori, who is kind of like just a all-around like good guy, helps out in a lot of different things, gifted student council president, is reliable. Everyone wants to be on the club and stuff like that. Comes in like first place in a lot of like team rally events, it seems like, as well. And he knows to himself, it's noted that he is accomplished in most things, but there's one thing that he's not, Le Gasp. And he is approached by this quiet looking girl who says, like, hey Mime, tonight's the thing, so you know what? And late into the night at 3 goddamn a.m., they both tune in to a radio show. Monday Midnight Talking. It's a school night, guys.
It's also 3 a.m. It's not midnight.
It's 3 a.m. Is it? They're in Japan. Is this being broadcast from one of the Pacific Islands? Like, for it to be midnight.
And this goes for another hour and a half. So it's going to be like almost 5 o'clock. Yeah.
The big thing that they're showing up for is the thing that happens at 4:30 in the morning. But yeah, so they there are 2 comedians who are hosting the thing, and we eventually get to the 4 o'clock block. Listener one-liner improv mail. They share a prompt every week, and then listeners submit stuff. And so Mime is listening in on stuff, and they don't read his at all. The one thing he's not accomplished in is that he's terrible at comedy. We get more of an explanation of what this radio show is all about, and how Mime is a really big fan of it, and he's really, really competitive. He's always submitting stuff to this contest, but he's never had his one-liners be read on air. and his call name is bu- 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 I can't remember what his is, but Eel Potato is a regular listener who's always getting their stuff read on air. I wonder what it could possibly be.
Yeah, I wonder who Eel Potato is.
Who could it possibly be? Could it be the one other character we've met? Yes, it is. It's her. Mime runs into Mizuo, his fellow listener friend, and again, they immediately start talking about the previous night's Mon Mid, is what the show is referred to. And honestly, this is one of those kind of series, it feels like, where there's a lot of humor that's kind of like, oh, that's like a Japanese culture kind of joke. Like there's a sense of humor that's like, I don't have for some of these. So I think that my favorite joke in the whole chapter is Mime's like, hey, aren't you in class today? And Mizuo's like, yeah, but I spotted you in the hall. And Mime's like, what, you're here to talk to me? And she just says, yeah, I'm head over heels for you. Completely straight, dead expression while she says it.
Yeah, there is like the manzai, straight man kind of thing that she's doing very well.
Yeah, she says, I'm head over heels for radio shows. I just really like talking about radio shows. Yeah. Yay, waka waka. Mime talks about, it's like, oh man, it's amazing how like Eel Potato got 2 submissions read, isn't it? Wow, that's insane. I wonder who Eel Potato could be. Who could be Eel Potato? Apparently, like, they're a little bit of the topic of gossip because, my gosh, a guy and a girl were talking to each other in the middle of the hallway. Yep. That's understandable. Later on, they meet up again, and Mizuo asks a really weird question that I don't understand any of the references to. But she just kind of like starts talking about stuff, and Mime brings up like, hey, we're always like hanging out with each other. Isn't your like boyfriend gonna be upset? And she says, I don't have a boyfriend. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I heard, yeah, my friends were talking about how like you have the same kind of keychain as like Nishi's-on in another class. And she's like, oh yeah, it's just a gift I got for my family, whatever. Anyway, I can't fall in love with anyone unless they're funnier than Eel Potato. Yep. And so Mime was like, isn't that kind of weird that like you're letting a radio show dictate so much of your life? And she's like, no. I don't like, I'm not into like idols, not into like sports guys or manga heroes. I think that funny people are the coolest of them all because I've read that chapter of Showa Shoten and I believe in that one guy who said the comedians are the coolest people around.
That very cool thing that comedians say a lot.
Honestly, I feel like I like her way of putting it much better because she's just like, this is just the type of person that appeals to me. That she's just very honest.
I speak as somebody who finds a sense of humor extremely attractive.
Yeah. I think that's very important for a lot of people, and it's not unusual to make that kind of declaration. But I want to point out that she is not going up on stage and bragging about how cool she is for being a comedian.
Yeah, someone didn't give her an open mic, and she was just like, let's talk about how cool comedians are, right? We're the coolest.
So anyway, Mime's like, all right, I get that. Yeah, okay. Why would you pick out like that the person that any boyfriend you would have to be funnier than Eel Potato, though? Why not like a professional comedian? And she says, well, because I'm Eel Potato. Just deadpan. And Mime's like, are you kidding me? And she's like, no, here's my email history. She's like, yeah, I'm Eel Potato. And she shows like, like the submission that she sent ahead of her submissions being read off the previous night. And she has like, I've got the keychains that they give you like when your submission's read on air and stuff. So Mime's like, does that mean that you were Eel Potato before we met? Yeah, but I couldn't really tell you. She makes this weird expression, and when she says, because you really idolized Eel Potato when we talked about this. So now Mime's like, God, I guess that like I kind of like have to compete with her now because he knows that like the person that he kind of idolizes, like his classmate is like, I want to compete with that. And it's definitely not because he wants to date her, because this definitely isn't going to have some sort of romantic backdrop in it or anything. But he thinks, I don't know how I'm supposed to surpass her. He's hanging out in a cafe while he's trying to think of jokes. Mizuho happens to come in randomly, and she says, "Oh yeah, wow, it must be fate. We're a perfect match, like director Miyazaki and his apron." What does that mean?
I assume that reference makes a lot more sense if you live in Japan and spend a lot more time. I don't even know which Miyazaki they're referring to. I assume the Ghibli one. Is there another? Like, also, I know there's multiple people with that name.
I also have to assume that she was referring to him as the apron.
Wait, maybe he always has like a really specific looking apron. Yeah, he has an apron in his images. He's always wearing one. See?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. She makes like she's going to tell everyone that Mimei has feelings for her because of the whole, eel thing, the eel potato thing. And so Mimei is like, fine, yes, I admire eel potato, but I'm also really shaken up because like I now learned that my friend is eel potato and everything. So she looks at him and is like, okay, so it's bugging you. Okay. I mean, it's weird because you're so worried about this when you're good at like everything. And Mimei says like, yeah, but like being funny is not something that's just like effort. I really like the show Mon Mid, and I want to be able to like be funny too, but like it feels like that's not going to happen. Mizuho looks at the notebook that Mimei has kind of been scribbling ideas in and says like, have you sent any of these in? Like, have you submitted any of these for the contest? And he's like, no, like they're not really my best. And she looks at him and she looks like very vulnerable for once and is like, these are funny though. Why aren't you like submitting these? And she says like, yeah, this is like just my opinion, but like I like them. And then she realized like, you're too funny. You're too afraid of being funny to look at your work objectively. Are you like only sending in ones that you think like, oh, this is definitely going to work? Like part of comedy is trying a bunch of things and seeing what people react to.
Very true. I did stand-up comedy a brief period of time, and one of the lessons I learned from it was like, oh, you really are not just supposed to be like, all right, well, I had 7 jokes. They didn't land once. I guess I'll never use them again. You're supposed to, refine upon them, try them again, insert new material. Like, it is a whole, like, collaborative, not collaborative, but like, you iterate on itself. And I think someone like him who is used to like going for the perfect score does just find like, this is the perfect joke. I will submit that and nothing else. And it's like a good lesson for him to learn. Like, send out a bunch of your material. Make like 1,000 suggestions. There's nothing stopping you.
There was a Mitch Hedberg joke that he told once when one of his jokes bombed. And so he said, all right, I'm going to fix that joke by taking out all the words and putting in new ones. Mm-hmm. And that's funny, but also it's true. Like if you've got a bit that, you believe in, it's like, okay, but it's just a matter of like finding the right way for it to come across. And, you experiment sometimes. And Mizuho kind of just forces Mimei to like submit something when he's not intending to. And she's like, look, you've emailed it in. In fact, let's just send all of these while you're at it. And she's like, just starts punching them in on his phone for him. And she says like, look, you don't have the courage to submit these. I'm going to submit them for you. But that is enough to motivate Mimei to do it himself. And he's like, I'm definitely going to get one of mine read on here. I'll send them in. Just you listen. And Mizuho's like, I was going to listen to the broadcast anyway, but okay. So he does dive into it. And Mizuho thinks to herself as he's getting more and more into it, one-liner improv is the arena where the tenacious, dedicated types get to compete against prodigies. And we see him, throughout his day. Yeah, this is an iShield 21 story, Quinn. It's about talent versus hard.
I just like the idea that it's like the only stage where this thing gets even out is one-liners sent onto a radio show that airs at 4:30 in the morning. It's like our hollowed battleground.
4:30 in the morning. Mime dedicates like a whole ton of his free time to this. He's working on like, after student council meetings in the middle of the class, all this free time. He is exhausting himself while doing it, but it's one of those things where he's like, hey, he's energized by having this. And while he's doing it at one point, he thinks to himself like, why did Mizuo have to turn out to be Eel Potato? Why did Eel Potato tell me the words that I wanted to hear the most? Monday arrives, and so he is getting set to listen to the show because it's middle of the night, and gets a call from Mizuo, who says like, hey, can you leave home right now? And Mizuo's like, I mean, it's 3 a.m. I can't go out. And Mizuo's like, I figured that we could like listen to it together. This is definitely not a romance series.
It's not, but it's also one of those things of like, girl, like, why are you going out at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning? Like, just chill out.
And Mime's like, if you want to listen to it together, can't we like just like stay on the call together? And she's like, you can't play a radio broadcast on the same time at the same time you're on a call with someone if you're listening to it on your phone. Which, yeah, in this day and age, most people are just going to listen to a podcast or a radio show just on their phones instead of on a separate device. I think they're crazy, but that is how most people do it.
Wait, Nick, how do you consume podcasts? You're like, I thought for a second you're going to be like, I get them printed on vinyl, and then I play them like a true audio connoisseur would want them to be.
I download the MP3, and then I get on my MP3 to 8-track converter.
It has to go through a couple things. So first it turns into a CD, which I then turn into a cassette, and then
it's got to go backwards through the process.
Eventually they're all wax cylinders, and I'm saved for whatever apocalypse comes our way.
I do remember when I was younger, my mom had a van that didn't have a CD player in it. So she had a CD that she had burned a bunch of her favorite songs to, and had a CD player to tape converter that was like an adapter you fit in the tape player so that it would play stuff off of a CD player. It was very weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
Mime, after a bit of convincing, goes to meet with Mizuo in a park. They like run into he kind of picks her up from outside of her apartment. After they both sneak out, they go into a park to listen to the show together, and they both sit next to each other on a bench, and each of them gets an earbud so that they can listen in. And Mizuo points out like, your heart's racing because you're confident your joke's going to be ready. All the misdirection on this girl. So they listen to the show, and it gets to a point where Mizuo, it's the fucking middle of the night. So Mime offers her his jacket when she sneezes and she's shivering, but Mizuo also like offers him part of the jacket, so they're both huddled under it together. Mime is the only one who is reacting to this closeness with any sense of like, we're two young people close together in the middle of the night, sharing this close moment. One-liner improv comes up. I swear some of these guys are not fucking funny.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of these, I think, are just jokes that do not translate. But it is very funny that the joke that like gets picked that eventually gets read, I was like, I think this is the worst one yet. I think this is the one that's sucked the most. And again, I'm sure it's a translation issue, but
would you have a submission for the musclehead thing? Well, the prompt is, what would a musclehead in love be like? I came up with a joke fairly quickly.
Okay.
Which was just telling his crush, you're good for my cardio, which is more sweet than it is funny, I feel like. But
yeah, I would say he does like 2 scoops of protein powder, but then like a petal from a rose or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to be like figure out something off the top of my head, but I also wouldn't submit to this contest because I don't like writing jokes in this manner.
Mm-hmm. Mizuo's joke is he trains on the road side of the sidewalk, as in, like, you know, in order to protect the girl that he's with by staying on the roadside, but he's jogging on that side. It's like, it's a little bit of a thinker, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
They Mizuo and Mime talk a little bit more while they're listening, and Mime's just kind of like, they still haven't read mine, but this show's great. And then they get to very, very close, and Mizuo's like, oh man, they're not going to read it. And Mime's like, hey, we don't know yet, which, you know, is like, it's great because he's more optimistic now because of her encouragement. They go to commercial break. We actually cut in on the studio, and man, you can tell which one of these is the straight man and which one's the jerk right away. One of their like producers on the show says that they got this one guy who sent in 300 submissions, and they say, like, there were like 3 from the bunch that I thought, yeah, weren't bad. If any of them catch your fancy, yeah, feel free to read them. And one of the hosts like chuckles, like, as he reads one of them. He's like, where the heck is this guy been? I like this guy. And the Mime's title is announced, Owl in the Woods. Very, very cool name for a comedy guy, I feel like. But Mime freaks out, and his joke is, whenever I think of her, I can't taste my chicken breast. What the fuck does that mean?
I was like, I get where it's going. Like, muscleheads would eat a lot of chicken breast, but I was like, I don't get where this is going. And it's the one that is meant to give me the biggest like momentum in this moment. I'm like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah. Mizuo kind of gives Mime almost like a proud smile, and he's like, oh, keep it a secret that I'm a joke artist. My one joke after 300 attempts got read at 4:30 in the morning. I am a joke artisan.
Yeah, don't tell anyone in school that you heard me here. I'm like, oh, no one in school knows I stay awake until 4:30 in the morning to listen to a comedy podcast.
They head home, and Mizuo says, hey, are you going to keep submitting? And Mime's like, yeah. And hey, Mime's prize, because they get little prizes if their stuff gets read on the air, arrives. He's got a little robot keychain thing. He attaches it to his backpack. He's very proud of it. Goes to school. Mizuo's got like a cluster of keychains of the same type. But he's immediately like, oh no, we've got matching keychains. People are going to think we're a couple as a result of that. And Mizuo looks at him putting it away, and she says, hot dog, we're a couple of matching wieners.
Finally, Nick, someone else is joining me in using hot dog as just the natural exclamation again.
Not just that, but hot dog, a couple of matching wieners. Great follow-up.
Great follow-up. Nick, I actually need help. So I am, eventually going to be teaching in classrooms of children, and I need to obviously clean up my salty language. So I need to find fun exclamations that I can use in replace of all the swear words that I say. I'm already bringing back hot dog.
That I put myself into when I work. Hang on. Sometimes I'll like double stack the really mild ones so that, like, because like I'm the type of person who will just let them go, like, fuck, but if I square the lameness, then it feels more natural than just saying anything individually. So I will sometimes literally go, goodness gracious golly gee, to myself while I'm at work instead of cursing.
There you go. Yeah, I need to get some stuff like that. I'm thinking of bringing back Great Googly Moogly.
That's a pretty good one.
That was a good one. Yeah, maybe hot dog we already get in there. Oh boy. I really want to bring back those classic white people lines. So, like, listen here, Buster.
Let me just scooch by you.
Oh, Gadzooks is a good one. Gadzooks is great. Gadzooks! I want it to basically sound like I'm casting like a spell from a 1960s like cartoon show. Like an alien's gonna come out like, that's Gadzooks!
Oh boy. Mizuo says to Mime, I hope you keep on trying to be more funny than me. And Mime recalls that she had earlier remarked, I can't fall in love with anyone unless they're funnier than eel potato. And he's immediately like tries to like brush it off and be like, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. And Mizuwa is just like, because it'll be more competitive that way. I do really like Mizuwa. Her how it's hard to like see what she's thinking because she's so deadpan a lot of the time.
I also appreciate that the female character is allowed to be like very funny and silly while still being like she's still the, you know, potentially the straight you know, man in a relationship, but it's just nice to see a female character get to be defined by her humor. It's just always nice to see.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know how well this is going to translate to a full series. I thought that this was a cute little story. And yeah, I'm open to, you know, looking into it for more. I don't know how like exciting or enthralling this is going to be week to week. But this was a nice start, I felt.
It's not bad. I didn't feel a ton from it, but I do think that there is a portion that I am just gonna have to like work like to get over based on the fact that like the jokes aren't necessarily always gonna land for me.
Yeah.
But it is fun, and we have quite a few series still jump through. So I guess we should move on to Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi.
I don't even think I bookmarked this one.
This is Chapter 60. Let's stay at Hitsugi's house.
Yeah, which is what's going on in this chapter under Doctor's orders.
I'm always so excited when Sosuke gets to be a major character in the series. I'm like, yes, the thing that we're all here for. It's like when there's a Naputaku chapter and you're like, everybody applaud, our son, he's here.
The main character, who is technically the third character, is here. That is a very cute family picture of Sosuke with both his parents before his mom passed. It's very nice. There is a map of the building because the mansion is so big. All of the servants greet Kiyoshi as they're like, Master Sosuke has brought a friend over. It's the one who exorcised the great demon lord. And Kiyoshi's just like, oh, I think we're friends. And Sosuke's like, he's not my friend.
I love it because he's like, he's not my friend. And then one of his mates is like, but he's the one you're always going on and on about. And he's like, no, I'm not. It's so adorable. Like, I love this guy.
A young servant thinks that Kiyoshi is super cool. So then they're like, I also like how Kiyoshi's like, is this Sosuke's little brother? And is like reading his mind. Sosuke goes, he's not my little brother. But all of the staff's families all actually live together in the household. And we get confirmation like that everyone kind of treats each other like they're a big, massive family. So the best. The best. A bunch of the kids of the servants all swarm Sosuke. They're very happy to see him because he's not really here all the time. Sosuke's like, I'm sorry that they're all really annoying. And Kiyoshi says, I've always wanted things to be like this. It's really fun. And some of the kids want Kiyoshi's autograph. He gets kind of embarrassed. And Sosuke notes to him like, you exorcised the great demon lord. You're probably going to become a cross paladin before anyone else. Except for me. I'm going to be a cross paladin too, so watch out. Gestures emphatically with his chopsticks too. He is scolded by one of the older maids, and then the kids make fun of him because he's being scolded. Hooray. Yeah. Dr. Hitsuki checks in with Kiyoshi. Everything's fine with his precept stuff. It's not going to be a big deal. He just needs to rest.
It was like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal. But then thankfully they do add a reason why. And I like it because it retroactively makes a character significantly more important. I hope they follow it up because they do eventually say like, oh, you were only able to be healed because Akari healed you in between. Yes. If you had just gone all out, you would not have it anymore. It'd be gone.
Essentially, like, the vessel for all of his precept power was fractured, and so it's kind of like he can't contain it anymore. But because she healed him, she made sure that the entire thing didn't totally shatter beyond repairing itself ever again.
And I like, look, we're going to talk about female characters in healing later on in this podcast.
Yes.
But I want to note, I don't hate that Akari's like just the healer girl. If you could make her healing significant, and Kiyoshi needs to talk to her and thank her because she kept his career alive. He would have no power if not for her. So I want him to actually express that to her.
Thank his partner. Yes.
Yeah.
But Dr. Hitsuki says, like, hey, you've just had an intense battle. So, eat up, rest up. You're on a warrior's respite. And you should be recovered in 2 to 3 weeks if you just do that. And Kiyoshi's like, okay. And, Kiyoshi's not a problem child. He's going to do that just fine, assuming that nothing crazy happens. But Kiyoshi notes, like, I'd like to ask something. And then we cut to a different scene where Sosuke is visiting his mother's grave. He talks to her and says, like, I managed to exorcise the third demon lord, and I wonder if I've gotten a little closer to you. I'm going to work even harder now. And Kiyoshi arrives next to him and also begins to pay his respects. Very seriously, more seriously than we've seen Kiyoshi outside of the fight with Astaroth, basically. And he knows to Sosuke, like, I didn't know, your mom was an exorcist. And Sosuke tells the story, like, 10 years ago she was killed by a demon shortly after she became a cross paladin. I'm not surprised that you didn't know about her. And Kiyoshi says, my parents were killed by a demon when I was a kid. They weren't exorcists, but they protected me to the very end. And he, remembers his mother smiling while she was, like, impaled because she was protecting him and making sure that he would be okay.
Now, I do not remember the start of Kiyoshi. Was this always the backstory we've known, that his parents died protecting him from demons? Okay, I wasn't 100% positive.
Sosuke starts to say to Kiyoshi's, oh, so you too, but Kiyoshi just says, hey, let's get stronger together so that we can protect everything, including what your mom can't protect anymore. And Sosuke remembers vowing to his father that he was going to do just that. And he smiles to himself privately, and then turns around and goes like, you don't have to tell me that, let's go!
He's such a sweet little boy. He's such like a dumb jerk, but like, it's so great because like, there's even like a panel of like him playing with like the younger siblings and Sosuke in the background kind of like wiping his eyes like, oh, these adorable little dorks.
Yeah, he just can't allow himself to show that he's very happy to have his friend be friends with all his adoptive siblings. 2 weeks just go by, and according to Dr. Hitsuki, is like, yeah, wow, you're doing fantastic. You've got incredible natural healing ability. And he says to Kiyoshi, like, I think a bit of light training would actually be fine in your state, but don't use precip power. Okay? Sosuke as well, his arm is healed, and so he calls Kiyoshi outside and says, let's do some martial arts training. And so they square up, go up against each other, and we cut away at that point to Dr. Hitsuki, who is looking at a portrait of his wife, Misono, Sosuke's mother, and says, as he pours a glass of whiskey, you were right. And he flashes back to when she was saying, like, Sosuke's a genius. He's going to be a great exorcist one day. And he recounts to her how accomplished Sosuke already is, how he's more and more like you every day. And after focusing wholly on training since that day, he's finally made a friend. And it's that boy you gave your life to protect.
Interesting.
What a strange twist of fate. Even without you in the world, you live on inside Sosuke. With thoughts of you in his heart, he's moving forward with his friend. And we cut back to Kiyoshi and Sosuke at the end of their sparring match as they both collapsed and are laughing next to each other.
Yeah. Really good chapter. Really enjoyed that one.
Very sweet. Yeah. And I really like the closing speech that Dr. Hitsuki has. It's just I don't know, it's not the biggest twist in the world that, like, oh, the exorcist that protected Kiyoshi was Sosuke's mother, that she died protecting him, and that bonds them together further. But it's nice because, like, Sosuke, it felt like at the beginning of the series was just kind of just the guy that Kiyoshi
just a
was
rival.
just better than.
Yeah.
And now that they're more and more friendly rivals, it's nice to have this bonding between them in multiple different ways.
And he brings out the side of Kiyoshi that makes him likable. We've spent so long in this fight where we were like, Kiyoshi's really boring when he doesn't get to like do any of the silly fun stuff. And he hasn't really gotten to do a lot of that with other people because he's like worked over a lot of his things. Like he doesn't have to be nervous around girls because there's too many female characters in the cast for him to interact with.
Right.
But like when he gets around Sosuke, he's just a dorky little boy again, and it's funny. It's like, yeah, you're like, oh right, the stuff about Kiyoshi that made him likable and fun. Like we're getting to experience it again. Like honestly, I feel like Sosuke is like a salve on this series. Like when he shows up, I'm just like, I'm instantly like transported into it. I'm like, yes, let's read some more.
Yeah, we need to like have Sakaki stop thinking about Yuta for a while so that we can have him like be rehabilitated into one of the best characters in the series too.
Yeah. We got some fixing to do. Nick, there's a very brief bonus chapter of Marriagetoxin where everyone's holding a party and they're going to have a competition for the extra rare Garo card.
Yep.
Based off of how you read in this, do you have like an idea of which specialist deck you would pilot? Because I really like sound specialist
I would
deck.
never play a gun specialist deck. I do not play roll dice and pray decks.
Yeah. I enjoy a good steady damage special effect kind of, hitting you with little points every time you do something. I love that. Mono black player.
Yeah, some like kind of burn decks and that kind of thing I like, and some I don't. It would depend on how it felt to be playing it. So I think I'd actually have to try playing it in order to know.
Well, the only way we can do that, Nick, is if we develop the game ourselves. So I think that's our next step, rather. So
it says in the closing moment where we learned that Izaka was the one who won the competition, follow the rules and have fun playing Specialist Masters, which made me go, they're not releasing the game, are they?
That would be great. If like they were just like, it worked for Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's just put it out. We'll see.
Why not? All right, new Exorcist. Chapter 114, Feathered Ties. Well, Suzugu's been chopped in half. I don't think there's coming back from this one.
No. She's gonna pop back up any moment. Also, for some reason, she's feathers.
Yeah, well, because the fire's gone out, so the phoenix that she was, there's no fire anymore. It's just feathers now.
I guess she was a phoenix. In my mind, though, I guess I just wasn't actually visualizing a bunch of feathers on her in that moment. All right, fair enough.
She reflects on how like she went through so much pain because of the fire, and now it's all out. And she realizes like I'm dying, and so she calls out to Ishu and she says, "I'm worried about my family, especially you." And Gakuro comes in and says, "I'll protect Aramide. I told you my feelings for my companions were stronger than yours. Don't tell someone this while they're dying."
You got it. You got her captured exactly. Oh, protect her! Like he gets right in her fucking face when he says it. I was like, dude, back up.
Also, I feel like I should be doing it like this. Hang on. Oh, protect Aramine, brother.
Oh, what a lovely singing voice you have.
This must be very painful for you. Yeah. So he's like, yeah, I'll protect you. And Suzuka says, "It's not something you can do. What do you know of this family's ties?" And Gakuro says, "I was jealous of you, of all of you," because there was the really, really quick sequence where he was introduced to Suzuku's family, which it feels like has not really been commented on from his perspective at all during this entire fight. Anyway, he notes like, "I don't have parents anymore, but I do know, even now that my dad is gone, my dad! The bond we shared is still strong and vivid, and I won't lose sight of it. I promise to make Ishu Aramine happy."
I actively kind of hate Gakuro in this moment, because this is such a giant, bold fucking promise to make for a boy who cannot decide which girl he's going to take to a festival at this point.
We're already married, so I don't have to.
But don't worry, I do still have to answer honestly my feelings to all the other, like the 17 other girls who all float in my general vicinity and have feelings for me.
The moment that I hate Gakuro in this chapter comes a little bit later.
Okay.
So. As Suzuku is dying, she says, a parting gift then, and she gives them the information that Raisei is postponing Gasha Dokidoki's resurrection, because, why not? So instead, he will be resurrecting Soranaki next. And so Suzuku, as she starts to fade further, says, you said that you will protect Ishu. I'm entrusting that information to you now. Farewell. And Gakuro again says, I swear I'll protect Aramine from the next Hyo, and the next one, and the next one. And that means even if you die, your bond with Ishu will never vanish. Rest in peace, Suzuku. Again, dude, like your wife, girlfriend, whatever she is, she's really upset right now, and maybe you shouldn't act so callous about her mom in front of her. Ishu grabs onto Suzuku's body, who's like dissipating into a bunch of feathers now. Yeah, she's gone. She like completely scatters into feathers and actually like leaves Ishu's arms because of that. We get an information that although 7 people were wounded in the incident, nobody died because, nobody dies in New Exorcist unless they're a bad spirit.
Well, also, you need to know the casualties. This was a very impactful arc with a lot of, high stakes that were constantly going around. It wasn't as though people were just willy-nilly thrown into situations and then teleported away. We need to know the actual consequences. And the big consequences, 7 people were hurt. People we know? Probably not. Probably not. But 7 people were hurt in all of this. This is crazy, but no one died because Gakuro tried really hard.
Suzuku's companions, whom the second branch had captured, subsequently transformed into heat mirages and disappeared.
I think I just completely ignored this part because my boyfriend asked me later. He's like, "Does this mean they were all like clones?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't care. I guess I just don't care."
As a result of the fact that they now, though, the next Hyo to be resurrected is Soranaki, Nue takes Gakuro to the Exorcist Bureau. It took me a double take to realize this was Gakuro and Nue, because I saw 2 characters in suits and glasses show up, and I was like, oh god, more new characters. And then I realized, like, oh, it's Nue in another stupid outfit. God damn it. Yes, her hat is stupid. So...
Wow.
That's Nue's fault, though. It's not the hat's fault.
I like the kind of flare opening to the legs of her pants. I think those are a nice touch. It's a good suit look, even though it's not.
So they're gonna go and talk to people at the Exorcist Bureau. We get a freaking mention of Wanyudo at this point, as she brings up, like, oh, remember that he said that his ability to regenerate had been sealed because of Haruhi Otsuki, and I want to ask the head of the Bureau about any forbidden jutsu like that. And so Gakuro just goes to the door and goes, let's go then! And Nue thinks to herself, he moves fast. He's more determined these days, and he's getting more enthusiastic. Cue the next page, Gakuro going, oh no, Nue, you can't be so bold, rushing into the room, no! So, yeah, anyway. Nue goes to meet with the head of the Exorcist Bureau, whose name I have not memorized because she's shown up once before. And so they meet over tea. She actually bows and thanks for, they subjugated one of the Hyo. So
Thanks
good job.
for doing our job for us. I know that's the primary reason our organization existed, and none of our members lifted a finger to help you except for one person who teleported you around.
So, yeah, she notes that a member of the Exorcist Bureau could help you out. She's one of our top secrets, and we never release information about her. However, you did defeat a Hyo as promised, and that merits a reward, so I thought I would introduce you. However, there is a condition. You'll need to marry her.
Why?
Why? And Gakuro goes, marriage? Again? And Nue just goes, why not? And Gakuro is like, Suzuku's dead. And he thinks about her being mad at him. Remember how Gakuro 5 pages ago was like, don't worry, your bond with her will outlive you and I will protect her. And now he's thinking about how mad she'll be that another girl is going to marry.
That's the issue. It's like, dude, you cannot promise you're going to protect this girl. You have to like crush on every single girl that comes up because it's like a plot development. There's no way you can promise you're going to protect this girl's feelings.
How much time has passed since the fight with Suzuku? Because he thinks about all the girls.
I hope minutes.
I hope days, Quinn. Because he thinks about the situation is in with Ishu, Sujita, Fujino, and Suo all having confessed to him and thinks to himself, I have to give the most sincere response I can to all of this. Have you talked to any of them? In the time that it's been since this all went down and you promised that you would take care of Ishu as your wife.
We have been so spoiled by Marriagetoxin and it being like, you know what, you're not. The harem ending's actually the bad ending. Because it was a moment in this, I was like, we're just never going to pick a person. He's going to say, I want to protect all of you equally. We're going to get a big harem ending, and that's how this is going to end, isn't it?
Quinn, the secret is that in Marriagetoxin is that this situation is the toxin. This is the poison that has been affecting romantic comedy shonen manga for decades. For decades is little shits like Gakuro who just go, oh, well, I guess all these girls like me and I can't do anything about it. And I will, though, because I'm a good guy, but I just never get around to it. And he says in this moment, okay, well, it will be a plural marriage later on.
Okay, cool.
I guess that you're just down with this. You're just down with not discussing this with Ishu, by the way.
I was going to say, all your girls presumably also okay with this based on your planning.
Admittedly, some of them would be okay with being in the relationship with Gakuro and one of the others, but...
Yeah, and, you know, it's not an issue if that is the actual result they all want. It's just he has not talked to anybody.
No. So Nue's like, yep, okay, we're down for it. And Gakuro gets mad at Nue for some reason. And Nue's like, I mean, you said you were okay with it. Yes, she's right. You did say you were okay with it a second before she was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So the leader of the Exorcist Bureau starts to lead them up and says, this is a member of the Suga family, born with a unique constitution. Her freedom has been restricted since birth, and she is fated to spend her entire life in that cage. We call her the Divine Child. We cut to the Shrine of the Divine Child, where said new girl is got all these like wires connecting to her in her definitely very practical outfit. And
if I never needed to leave the house, like I was forbidden from ever leaving it, maybe I would also just wear like a poncho and nothing else.
A poncho that drapes over the front. And I understand, like, it makes sense that she needs to have a backless outfit because she's got wires in her back. Get a halter top. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, you do that. It's very important, though, that she is just wearing thigh highs and no pants otherwise.
God. So she is essentially the communication device of the Exorcist Bureau because she has unique abilities and an inexhaustible supply of command energy. And so she can just like constantly keep on the communication system running as a result of this. So that is her duty. She is told, all right, it's time for you to take a break because you've been working like 23 hours in a row. You got to freaking take a nap and stuff. Her assistant tells her, who is weird as well, says, we have to introduce someone to you. And so he passed on a message to her. I'm told he's a boy your age, the captain of the 6th branch who has defeated a Hyo. So... yeah. So Natsuki, which is her name, takes out a manga, and it's a shoujo manga, and she's like, I need to prepare clearly. I'm meeting a boy who became captain at a young age, so I imagine he must be an insolent like this man here. And she points to, like, you know, arrogant, bad love interest guy in a shoujo series. So she's like, I will prepare by reading this manga, and I will have nothing to prepare to fear from him. Meets up with Gakuro. Fortunately, she's wearing like a full like shrine outfit instead of her not clothing. And she admits, like, I guess I am actually kind of nervous because, you know, I don't know if I've ever dealt with someone like this before. Takes one look at Gakuro and immediately is like, wait a minute, this isn't the arrogant guy from the shoujo manga. This is the cool, supportive love interest guy. The guy with glasses in the background that I've been crushing on through 21 volumes. Oh no, he's totally 100% my type. She hides all this reaction and reacts very maturely and stuff. So wouldn't you know it, Quinn? Gakuro got another love interest by doing nothing. She just likes him off vibes and not even any acts he has committed or any behaviors he's displayed. She just loves him at first sight, and that's just it.
It's funny because we had the same joke done to such a wonderful degree just a couple weeks ago at Ichi the Witch, where it's like, I have such an impression of this person, sees them once. Oh, wait, no, I'm absolutely down bad for them. But it was like really funny there. And here it was just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Of course there's a new girl. Of course Suzuku is dead. And Gakuro promises to protect her, her daughter, or, however their relationship was defined, as though basically he was, a husband. Like, I will look after her in every single way. And then by the end of the chapter, there is a new love interest for him to be consumed by. It's wild. It's like hysterical of us. You're like, how do you like, there's like 17 girls in this series. There's girls we've just forgotten. Like, why do we need a new one? Also, they describe her as the only character with recovery abilities. And I'm like, I thought there were healers in this world. Why would you've displayed Gakuro had his arm cut off and someone had to heal it? Like, why would you say that? You've added a problem into your series.
We've got Fox's Cloak in the chat asking, when does it become farcical? What do you mean, when does it become? It's already happened.
It's already like ludicrous, and I assume an intentional thing at this point. But it's weird because there's another series. You could just read 100 girlfriends who really, really like you if you're like, oh, I need like a new girl every week. And yeah, he's going to be committed to all of them. And then it's like a good thing. Like, you're able to read a good series. This is...
Well...
Nick, we need allies right now. Not enemies.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Anyways, this series sucks.
Honestly, though, we've known what we've been getting into for years at this point. We deserve this.
It is. It's just one of those ones, like, as I was reading, I was like, why would you define her as the only character with healing abilities? That's such a big, like, a strong... It's like when Oda was like, there's only 7 devil fruits that fly. And he was like, well, I'm never bringing that up again. That was wrong as crap. I don't know why I said that.
That was insane. There's so many bird devil fruits out there.
There's so many birds I want to make people. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Akane-banashi, story 174. Don't waste it. All right. Akane, we get a flashback from Tyson's perspective from when she went out just all night and was just standing at the beach. We did see her doing this before. And he thinks to himself, like, why did you do that? Why did you stay out all night without coming back to the room? I mean, actually, like, get when she was resting earlier, as he says, why did you do that when you knew the final was midday today and you didn't even come back to your room all night? Being reckless doesn't get idealized anymore, you know? Why do you push yourself like this? And he recounts the whole situation where, like, she's got to win without making the audience laugh. She's got to prove herself to Shomei. And he points out, like, he didn't give you a time limit. You don't have to rush yourself like this. And also, you're focused on beating your 2 rivals at the same time. You limit yourself. You pile on the pressure. For what? And Akane mumbles, I don't have enough time. Cut back to the present. Some people are kind of worried about Akane's condition. Hikaru specifically is like, hey, is it okay to like put her out there? And one of the stagehands says, like, normally we wouldn't, but we can't like find a replacement at short notice. So there has to be someone to fill this slot on the live broadcast. And Hikaru's actually seemingly quite worried about Akane, because she's like, yeah, I understand that, but like, come on. And so he's like, it'll be fine. There's no extra final round after this. They're just going to go in order. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. In the preliminary round, the two contenders stood. Wait, this isn't Hikaru, is it? Her hair is different.
No, this is someone else, right? It's just...
I don't know who this is. I just assumed it was Hikaru because she's got short blonde hair. My mistake.
Who's Hikaru?
Yeah, that's a good question, Quinn. Why am I talking about? Anyway, so he brings up like, look, it'll be fine. And look, the two contenders are all done, and all the audience members and TV viewers know that we just have to like play this out. So it's like it's going to be fine essentially, because no one's expecting Akane to win, so no pressure. It'll be okay. They'll understand if the quality drops off because she's so exhausted and doesn't do well. And Tyson is listening to all this and thinks they don't know her, and Akane kind of let him in on the situation about how Shigema collapsed before all of her training. And she recounts how she got an update from Maikeru, who said, like, yeah, okay, listen, the surgery was a success. The cancer hasn't metastasized. However, the result of this is a case of psychogenic aphonia. He can't talk. It's not like he's incapable of speech, but the more you rely on your voice for work, the longer the recovery takes. If he is to focus on healing, it's probably best if he steps away from Rakugo. And Akane says to Tyson, you can't expect that the people you care about will always be there when you need them. Standing in place means losing ground. Tyson gets up and says, well, then you should probably do something to improve your condition. And he asks, like, do you need a callback? Do you need a drink or something like that? And as he steps outside, he hears this voice say, don't waste it on me. And, like, everything about the room they're in changes. Like, it's no longer like a little recovery room. It's this old style room. And like Akane's position changes and her appearance changes. And the art style changes. It's entirely different.
Yes.
And Tyson was like, what the fuck is that for a second? And then Akane says in her normal voice, anyway, I realized something. That was a shackle. In the present, she takes the stage and, someone in the audience who is a fan of hers is like, oh, it's bad that she, came out after those two great performers before her. And we get another cutback to Akane's talking with Tyson as she says, I wasn't necessarily wrong. What they were saying, Isho and Shomei, was the same thing. But the answers were the opposite. I only need Rakugo. I don't need myself. And as Akane takes the stage, that fan of hers looks at her, and there's something off about Akane. We get a full 2-page spread of just her face as she looks into the audience, and it's her and it's not her at the same time. There's enough qualities about it where you just go, oh, something's weird about her right now.
Yeah, there's a weight to her eyes and like a paleness to the lips and stuff like that. There's a different side of Akane you're seeing.
Everyone suddenly pays attention and falls quiet. And Tyson thinks to himself about the comments from the stagehands before, like, oh, they're just going to like play out the stream, let her go out and just like ride this out. And he thinks, you don't get it. The show's only getting started. And hey, proper weight to this moment as Akane takes the stage and a dark aura seems to close in on her.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next week.
Yep.
It's a good chapter. It's a good. I'm super excited to actually see what Akane is going to do. I like the little snippet we got.
Okay.
Nick.
So the stuff with Shigema kind of confirming something we already suspected might be the case, but let's
Yeah,
have that.
I like the casual, like, he's basically dead. I'm like, doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you can go visit him. Sounds like you can even talk a little bit if you wanted to. But I get there's like a lot of tension there when you are essentially forced to retire in that profession and everything. All right, Nick, let's wrap up Weekly Manga Recap by talking about One Piece, chapter 1160, the God Valley Incident. Nick, the God Valley Incident is still happening. It doesn't like entirely happen in this chapter, but this is the chapter that lets you know, yes, we are still in the flashback. No, the Giants are not involved in this chapter. There is a B plot that has now become the A plot because it is now about the Celestial Dragons starting their hunt on the God Valley. We open with the Celestial Dragons demanding sort of the death of the Davy clan that they found. We see an image of a young Blackbeard with presumably his mother kind of cradling him. I assume we'll see her more later on when we get Blackbeard's flashback where she reveals that
it seems like Rock's married a woman who kind of has a bit of his hairstyle from what we can see of her.
Yeah. I assume we'll get her name and backstory, find out that she's a very loving mother, gave birth and then dies, like 90% of One Piece mothers. But it's real scary. And we also see Dragon getting told by Shanks' mother that like you have to take my boys to someone kind-hearted. Please raise them into men. Just don't let him have them. And Dragon in this moment, deeply unsure of his place as a member of the Navy who are supposed to protect people who are now a part of something absolutely heinous, is like, I don't even know who you are. I have to save your kids. Like, I have to do something in this moment. We get a lot of Celestial Dragons doing very, very bad things. I'm not going to recap this specifically because, to be honest, they do what we were told they did. They hunted people for sport, and it gets pretty dark and brutal. So, keep that in mind if you're going to watch this. It's not a pleasant thing. St. Figurland or St. Garland rather, is doing very well. There's like votes. They're like, who do you think's gonna, which family do you think's going to win? There's a lot of note that St. Gunko might win for the individual. We see Gunko using her arrow powers to, take people out. We see Summers being evil. Just to note, he's always been a dick. Every time Summer has existed, he's been a sadistic little monster who needs to get his shit.
Don't worry, the thorns will break your fall. What an asshole.
There's so much darkness to this chapter, it's hard to find the cruelty amusing, but Summers is so comically evil at times that you're just like, dude, you were like, you born in a lab to just be the biggest piece of shit around. We see a moment where Ivankov is talking to Kuma and all of them, and Rock sees it, and he's like, oh gosh, like, there's still like people here who have hope. That's so good. But a Celestial Dragon comes by and is gonna shoot, Kuma. This is bad. Dragon kills him. Dragon shoots him. I mean, I guess he's not dead. He is knocked unconscious because that's the guns they have. But he does shoot another person to stop this from happening. We see that the Rocks Pirates have shown up. Whoa! And there's a big 2-page spread showing most of the Rocks Pirates, essentially all the Rocks Pirates, and they're talking about everything, like, hey, Rise, we're going to share this treasure. And we get, like, that weird kind of conversation like One Piece characters have where down a line, everyone will kind of say one line, like, about a situation. So everyone has one line to explain their feelings on Shaky, essentially, except for Linlin and Kaido, who are like, you guys are stupid. And Kaido's like, yeah, give me a double fruit. That's their contribution.
I do like Newgate's contribution, which is like, I'm just concerned about my friend.
Yeah.
If she falls in love with me, I'm not complaining, though.
If it happens, it happens. So yeah, we get that shot, but then we also get to see a couple other people. I should note that Dragon is still carrying both of the twins at this point. We see the Roger pirates show up, and everyone's focused on that. Roger does have the line of, I'm going to go rescue Shaky. none of you have a shot, so you should go focus on the treasure. And like, I want to like be Rayleigh. He's like, yeah, dog, none of us have a shot.
None of us have a shot.
It's immediately followed by him getting punched in the face and his crew trampling over him, which is a very funny way for that scene to end. And then we also get an introduction to the 10, or to the Holy Knights of God. I don't think they're the 10 Holy Knights at this point, but we see the designs of several characters we know, some we saw in a flashback, and some of these are new character designs. I don't think we've seen this gargoyle with a funky beard before, but if we have, man, I want to see more of him. He truly looks like something from a children's book, and I mean that in the greatest of compliments.
Maybe he's not evil, Quinn. You know, maybe.
He's the one good one. He's the one he's just like, hey guys.
He doesn't know what's going on. That's all.
He's like, hey guys, we're supposed to be hunting rabbits, right? Because the animal population here has gotten out of control. It's a terrible thing, but if we do it with respect.
All right, guys. Those are very human-looking rabbits. Are we sure we know what's going on here?
My eyesight's not so great. These are small rabbits we're killing, right? Like, sure thing, Saint Giant Monstrous.
Giant Monster.
Everybody's showing up. Boom, big explosion. Hey, it's Garp. Garp's also here. That's the chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are here. There's a lot of, like, here's the whole crew shots that take place in this chapter. But, you know, it does give a sense of scale. And honestly, though, the only other thought that I have about the things that actually happen in this is that, I don't know why, but I never clocked that all the world nobles that have the you know, dive suits and the helmets, they all have hair that's really ill-designed for constantly wearing a bubble helmet.
Yeah, they're all supposed to look really stupid.
I never realized that before. Like, this, like, no one thinks to cut their hair short. It's like, no, I'm going to style my hair so that it sticks up and then, like, catches on the ceiling of my helmet and curves downward because this was not thought out well.
It almost looks like the back of a whale beaching or something like that. It's an interesting look once you start looking at it. I think this chapter was mostly fine, though. This is kind of reiterating stuff we already had done. And I don't know. I guess I was annoyed that Shanks's mom just, like, dies without any character or a face, really. It's just one of those things, and I'm like, that just kind of annoys me. But, you know, it's cool. Everybody's showing up. We're going to do most of the God Valley incident here, probably, right? Right?
We'll see. That will do it for Weekly Manga Recap for this week, though. We'll have to wait find out what happens, not just in One Piece, but everything else until next week. So, can you tell me what your favorite chapter this week was?
Going through them right now in my head, I'll say not Dandadan. I'll say Ping-Pong Peril. Ping-Pong Peril, I think, was fun, and I liked the characters, and I liked the stakes being raised a little bit at the end, and I also just liked that it was like, you know, pardon my French, a shit stomping. You know, in the last chapter, and it's like 6:10. I was like, how are we gonna play a lot of dramatic tension here? It's like, absolutely not. No. Tyra just kicks the shit out of him.
I think that I'm going to go with Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi. Thought that this was a return to form for this series and showing what it's all about and giving us some very human moments and also some very cool bonding moments between our two guys.
In response to that, my MVP is Sosuke because he is the best. I truly recognize how much he adds to every chapter of Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi's in. This was a chapter of Kiyoshi that I was like, ooh, this could be like a chapter of the week. And it's been a while since I've had one of those. I think since the last time Sosuke was really involved, like his fight, basically.
Yeah. This is a little bit tricky, but I think that... Honestly, I think that I'm going to go with Mizuo from Someone Hertz. I don't know. I didn't feel like a whole lot of characters really stood out for me this week. And, you know, she was, I think, a big contributor to me going like, oh, this was cute. So that's where mine's going to go.
All right. The audience picked Akane-banashi as the chapter of the week. And then Sosuke's family from Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi. The collective family god
I
character.
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, I get it. I do get that one. All right. That's gonna do it.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us for Weekly Manga Recap. We will be back next week here on twitch.tv/ReloadC. We'll start sometime around 7:30 Eastern, on which we do every Wednesday. But to know exactly when the show goes live, you can follow us on social media. We're both on BlueSky, ReloadC, Nick F. Time, and there's also the official Weekly Manga Recap BlueSky account as well. And WMR Votes, which will give you a chance to make your voice heard and say what you think were the best character and best series of the week. So follow that to know when the poll is open, and you can add your voice to the Google Doc maintained by Ninja X3i, which you can access by checking out the Discord server, which will be linked wherever this podcast is posted. We have a wonderful community that has regular game nights, discusses the chapters as they come out, discusses the series that we are taking as a recommendation as well. So join the Discord community for Weekly Manga Recap. Have a good time.
Yes.
We post this podcast on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com in audio form, but you can also check it out on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you prefer your general podcast listening. It's also available in video form on youtube.com/weeklymangarecap, which will have an opening sequence by Malajack Stillitz and Wensleydale Cheddar, and occasionally has title card artwork done by Steve Man. Steve Man's art can be found all across the internet if you just search for Steve Man Art.
Yeah.
And we have a Patreon, last but not least. Check out patreon.com/weeklymangarecap. If you become a $5 contributor, you can help financially support the show and also get access to all manner of bonus content, which we've been doing for going on a decade now. We've been doing
there's a very good chunk, and it's all accessible for $5. So if this is your first time, or if you want to go back and find some old stuff, also all the files are available for download. So once you access to it, it's all yours. Do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. And that's I think gonna do it. Next week.
Yeah, I will note. I don't want to quite give the full announcement yet. I'll do that once I actually have the product out there. But for those of you listening, there's going to be basically I'm going to be getting surgery and scheduling something also for Professor Peanuts, hopefully, to get a surgery. So I'm going to be expecting to need some, hopefully get some influx of cash at some point. So we're putting together a podcast package that will have some stuff that we're going to be just selling for, a low amount that's going to help support that. So I'm just doing that now, so you can kind of expect some stuff to happen. If there's stuff you really want to see or anything like that, let me know, because I'm putting together actively things right now for it. But something like that's going to be coming in the relatively near future, and I think we have some really cool stuff that people will enjoy.
Yeah, there are a couple of different things that we'll be recording, but there might be some very, very special things that might include some other stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that a lot of friends of mine are willing to help me out with this. So, a lot of love to the people in my life.
Aww.
All right.
Also, I'm there.
Yeah. You're the one I consider most precious of all. I was like, I can't possibly bother.
No.
I can't possibly.
I'm just so scared right now. I was like,